We also reported exclusively last year that H.R. McMaster's top aide was a globalist named Fiona Hill, who we traced directly to George Soros and his Open Society Institute. Now we have learned that it was Hill who facilitated the conversation between McMaster and Rice that has gotten McMaster fired. McMaster is on his way out. This has been reported publicly, but we now know the reasons. Trump is furious about McMaster's conversation with Rice, but even madder that McMaster publicly absolved Rice in the unmasking scandal.
All right. We're going to go to Ted Malloch right now, and then we're getting Roger Stone on the phone. He texted me about 10 minutes ago with huge breaking news dealing with Fiona Hill, the George Soros operative that we exposed last year that is involved with McMaster and everybody. And just as Roger said in January that basically Rex Tillerson had already been fired and a lot of his duties and power stripped by the president, and then he would be removed in March. You saw that happen exactly as we said. We also broke it was a pressure bomb, very primitive bombs used to bomb in Austin yesterday. That's now in the news today. So I'm just telling you, we have the real sources. This Fiona Hill individual is the Soros operative in the White House with McMaster, and that Trump is really angry and is looking to remove them both. POTUS is pissed at McMaster for speaking to Susan Rice and defending her public ally, reported on InfoWars at the time. I just learned that the, and I can't read this part, is none other than the deputy Fiona Hill. George Soros, InfoWars exposed and how bad she was and how terrible it was that she was in the White House working for McMaster. So Trump is really cleaning house, and now Roger has got a chance to talk to the White House and find out exactly why the president is accelerating the purge right now. All right, Ted Malloch, as a former Davos board member, Inside the Globalist author, and he's on with us to talk about the big battle going on in the world, what's happening with the unelected EU, how it's trying to kill Brexit.
Well, I think what we have is the globalists coming to power finally in the White House. So Steve Bannon's admission to the original sin of bringing in the establishment and the globalist part of the Republican Party has proven problematic. And now, finally, Trump is taking it back.
You just heard what Ted Malloch was saying. You've got big breaking news. We'll have you for a few minutes, Roger, about what the shakeup in the White House is really about, and that the president is finally on the warpath.
Well, Alex, as you know, we reported exclusively here at InfoWars last year that the president was very unhappy with his National Security Director, General H.R. McMaster's meeting with Susan Rice, and subsequently by McMaster's public comments appearing to absolve Rice.
And you broke that 3 months before. In fact, give us the date. You broke here that at the very place he was, who he was having dinner with, he was drunk, talking tracks about the president. The New York Post was giving it, didn't run it. You broke it here. 3 months later, it did break, word for word what you said. So expand on that.
So now we know, we also reported exclusively last year that H.R. McMaster's top aide was a globalist named Fiona Hill, who we traced directly to George Soros and his Open Society Institute. Now we have learned that it was Hill who facilitated the conversation between McMaster and Rice that has gotten McMaster fired. McMaster is on his way out. This has been reported publicly, but we now know the reasons. Trump is furious about McMaster's conversation with Rice, but even madder that McMaster publicly absolved Rice in the unmasking scandal. Again, we here at InfoWars first identified Fiona Hill, the globalist leftist Soros insider, who who had infiltrated McMaster.
And that's why they're so panicked to get us off YouTube, off Google, off Twitter, openly suing us, Georgetown, Soros back, all of it, because put the article on screen for TV viewers, please. We broke this word for word in May 31st, 2017, bombshell, Soros insider infiltrates Trump administration. Then it was picked up by Newsmax, and then it was hand-delivered to the president at Mar-a-Lago, we can now reveal, back in the summer of last year. I mean, that's why they hate us, Roger. Go ahead.
You're absolutely right, Alex. You see, when McMaster spoke publicly absolving Rice, somehow those stories and clippings never got to the president. Well, when he did see them, he hit the roof. There's one thing Donald Trump despises above all else, and that's disloyalty. And he's clearly doing a house cleaning here. Now,
all right, let's go back to Ted Malloch for the rest of the hour. Ted, thanks for sitting there. We have that breaking news, but I'm sure you can dial into all that, and we'll get into some other subjects in the next segment. But your take on what you just heard.
Well, as usual, Roger is absolutely spot on. I can tell you that it looks like Attorney General Sessions is actually going to fire McCabe tomorrow. And that will mean that McCabe will not get his large U.S. government pension. In other words, he'll get the justice he deserves. Fiona Hill is likely to be out on her ass in the next day or two. McMaster may have 30 days left. We all know his time is like the clock. It's ticking away. Trump is actually interviewing, as Roger suggests, people for that position. I'm told he's talked to a couple of generals, and I know personally he's talking and has talked to John Bolton, among others. So this is really a period of deep change in the White House. I don't think this is ever going to end until Trump gets what he wants and the people he wants in those slots.
Today, but huge breaking news on the other side. I told you McMaster is going to be out. We've been telling you that the last month, and exactly why, because Trump found out he was talking to Rice and talking to Powers, and that was actually getting orders from Obama still. That was Obama's national security advisor, and that this particular Soros lady was the nexus point. Well, that's all confirmed, and our information got to the president 2 months ago. He began an internal investigation and discovered that they were still involved spying on him. And so he first lets go out that McMaster's going to be gone. People lose confidence in him. He goes, oh, no, everything's fine. And then the word is, in 10 days, he'll be gone. That Trump intends to axe him in 10 days. Set your watch. Go ahead and watch next week's news today. Some timetables may change, but within a month, he's gone. And the word is Trump wants him gone now. And that Trump has a formula for how he gets rid of people. So there you go.
Trump is actually interviewing, as Roger suggests, people for that position. I'm told he's talked to a couple of generals, and I know personally he's talking and has talked to John Bolton, among others.
Last night, yesterday afternoon, Dr. Corsi calls me and he says, Ted Malloch, former board member of the Davos Group, head of the Aspen Institute, you know, a patriot mole inside the globalist, best-selling author, professor, was flying in from London where he lives. He's an Anglophile. He's an American, but he lives in England. And they grab him up. They read him his rights. They want to know about Roger Stone, Corsi, our operation. And then they take his phone. We're going to go over it all right now with Dr. Jerome Corsi, because this is a big, 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 big deal. That this is how big the dragnet is that I guess because he talked about talking to an MI6 agent that told him that the WikiLeaks had gotten the stuff downloaded, which we now know from William Binney, formerly the director of the NSA technical, and that it wasn't hacked from a distance. So they want to know all about this. And it just shows how huge the dragnet is. My security team, just the other day, documented, and the feds wanted me to know, because the feds have got cars with little numbers on the front fender. Feds out here following me, I don't know what for. If people think that's going to intimidate me, you guys haven't figured out I can't be intimidated because I'm committed until death to fight this because I know we're dealing with a bunch of pedophile devil worshippers. So it's not hard to say I'm committed 100%. Because I'm actually panicking like a drowning man, you understand? Getting away from them. That's what this is. This whole show is that. Fight or flight, I'm fighting. This is my panic, completely freaked out fight against a bunch of devil worshippers. You got to figure it out. I only know one direction, that's forward. And I am scared. I'm scared I'm not going to fight you hard enough. You got me scared. Don't you worry. So, you got me scared. Oh, believe me. And we got our hands around your neck politically now, and you're going to find out just how scared we are. And that scared strength's going to pop the political eyeballs out of your head. Just like you see a little boy, Bezos, 30-plus billion lost in a day. That's a guy that won't even pay for his sick employees. The Washington Post treats him like total crap and is a monster. And you think he likes losing $30 billion in one day? $5 billion himself? You think that little monster likes that? And he'll lose a lot more than that real soon. You think this is a one-way street? Buster, it's not. This is real. So get ready. And the news is like, oh, Trump's obsessed with it, that it's killing Main Street, and that it's anti-American, and that he thinks the Washington Post is weaponized. Thinks it's weaponized? They publicly hired over 300 former CIA operatives from Information Warfare Division under Obama to run the Washington Post now. It's a giant CIA breakaway criminal network. Yeah, I'm glad the president's obsessed with it. They're lucky they're just getting their asses handed to them financially. All right, I'm sorry. Let's go to Dr. Corsi. So, author of Killing the Deep State, The Fight to Save President Trump. Doc, this is such next level. And you said it best last night in that emergency broadcast we did. But Malloch finally, they took his phones and stuff. He's trying to talk to lawyers, but you talked to him this morning. He doesn't want to come on yet, but just describe what he told you they did.
Well, it's going to be more and more incredible. I mean, Ted Malloch is okay. He's in Ohio. He's with his wife. The FBI and the Meuller team are continuing to talk to him. They're calling him up. Now we know a couple things. One is they went to a judge.
Oh, this is breaking exclusive right now.
Yes, it's all break. They went to a judge in Meuller went to a judge in Massachusetts to get the subpoena for Ted to appear before the grand jury on the Russian collusion case. They went to somebody in Massachusetts. I guess they couldn't find a liberal enough judge in Washington. Then they want to keep Ted's cell phone. It's his only cell phone. He's out using his wife's cell phone, which is in London. It doesn't really work that well here, calling to London to have it bounce back here. They won't give him his cell phone back. They say they want to scrutinize it, and they're going to hold Ted. And he's going to come back on April 13th. They postponed the grand jury appearance to give them more time to break down every little square inch of Ted's cell phone. Now, I mean, this is to me outrageous. Here, Ted Malloch is stopped at the airport. He's detained. He's brought into some detention room with the FBI and grilled. He's told he's going to be forced to go to the grand jury. They confiscate his cell phone. Then he goes off to Ohio, no cell phone. I mean, Ted Malloch would have come in voluntarily. All the FBI had to do was ask. And Ted would have been happy.
Sure, they did this to shake him up and then later try to say he lied about something to try to flip him to then lie about Roger Stone.
That's right. And they read him his rights. And they just decided, they told him, reminded him that anything he said was going to be used against him in terms of lying to the FBI. He had no lawyer. He went in and talked with them without a lawyer. Now he's getting a lawyer today to try to assist him through this. But this is like a bad, Edward G. Robinson 1930 movie. I mean, I'm tweeting out and pounding Meuller. I mean, Meuller is the one who next gets to be, he needs to be under investigation along with Rosenstein for their role in covering up this uranium-1 bribery scheme by Russia, which I don't think CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment of the United States, would have allowed Hillary's deal to go through with Russia buying uranium-1 if Meuller and Rosenstein had let that information be made available to the committee. I'm asking Meuller, how much did he get paid? What's his net worth? How much did Hillary pay her the $147 million that she got? We know.
Well, that's what's crazy is we got him on tarmacs, $147 million, $30 million to the Podesta brother, all this Russia connection, selling the country out. And then they've been doing a proctology exam on everybody associated with Trump, have found nothing. They admit that. and now they're moving on to process crimes. This is just insane. And then Trey Gowdy tries to score points, with the establishment and goes, and I like Trey Gowdy in many ways, but he's like, Jim Jordan, everybody, you need to knock it off. And by the way, stop acting like you're guilty, Trump. When they've expanded the investigation into how long his toenails are and nothing's been found, and Hillary is literally in league selling out 1/3 of our strategic uranium in frickin' tarmac meetings out of a James Bond movie, this is ridiculous. Fine, keep investigating Trump. Investigate me, but indict Hillary and the Podestas and all these other jerks and Meuller. You can't have Meuller in tarmac meetings for the Clintons with the Russians and then turn around and tell us we're involved with them when we're not.
Yes, I just found out today, too, the New York Times, this second week in a row, my book is outsold about half of the bestseller list, but they're not putting the book on the bestseller list. They've got they hate the book. They hate killing the deep state. It's going to be, we're going to be offering it through InfoWars next
now,
week.
At least 10 years, the New York Times and all of them don't let anything patriotic make the New York Times bestseller list.
Absolutely not.
The bigger story for me, Alex, and one I know you and your readers and listeners are very keen on, is this story of the dossier, what I call the plot to destroy Trump. And indeed, I have a book coming out on that. It'll be out in the next 30 or 45 days. It basically puts all the dots together to tell the story about how the Democrats fashioned, in fact, nothing less than a coup d'etat of our President Donald Trump.
And I've read some excerpts to know what you're doing. This book is key for Congress and the media and everybody to have a blueprint for prosecution. This is way beyond the Nunes memo.
Oh, yeah. No, this is the big 30,000-foot view. It connects all of the dots. I've been researching it very confidentially and talking to all kinds of people for the better part of 60 to 90 days, and we have been pulling it together, and I'm very happy to say I just saw the final type print, and it's going to press.
You're making so many good points. I am not against the average liberal. I'm not against gay people. I don't care. Literally, I'm sick of them acting like I'm against them. But the leftist and MSNBC, they all say they hate families, they hate Christians. They come over and they see I have my family and they go, F your family, or I thought you lost your family in this whole cussy battle, and they try to celebrate. They try to celebrate that I'm this loser, and other conservatives I know say no. Liberals tell them that, how long is it till your family's broken up? Why do they hate families so much?
Well, because since biblical times, or before that, actually, in Aristotle, if you read Aristotle, you realize that the family is the building block of society. It's one of the key intermediating factors between the individual and the state. If you don't have strong families, the state usurps all power and actually displaces then every other institution, and we're left with nothing but a monolithic gray state, which
That's
is,
right.
in fact,
the family is the base unit of humanity. You take that, the people fall.
And they want to eradicate that. So I wrote a piece, it was very controversial, I guess was last year, appeared in Breitbart, suggesting on research that 17 of the current EU leaders have no children. Is that just a surprise, or is that actually a commitment? Do they want us, in fact, to have no children, to have no families, to have no extended families, so that they can control us?